I cleaned the engine because it was pretty dirty. It looks almost new. I could clean it one more time and make it look better, but this is good enough. I'm actually kind of in a hurry to finish this because it's sold already and they want it as soon as possible, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to paint it and put everything back together quickly. But what I use to clean is Aluma-Brite from Napa. I think it's the best stuff you can buy to clean it, and it's actually not that much, so just spray it on there. Don't let it dry, depending on the temperature outside, but you can let it sit for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes and just kind of play around with it. And then I got a power washer to kind of help clean some of that mud, but a water hose should work just fine, and that works really good. So I got everything sanded and ready for primer. I need to tape up everything that it's not gonna get used or painted, like the engine and stuff like that. All the wiring has to be taped up, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and hopefully get it finished soon so I can get it primed and put back together. Once I prime it, I'm gonna see if I can clean those rims. They look pretty old. They have some old mud on there, so I'm gonna see if I can bring some polish back and some life back into them. So I'm gonna go ahead and everything primed now. Started. As you can see, I bagged everything, taped everything as best as I could, the engine, so I don't get anything on there, since I got it looking pretty nice now. So my next step is gonna be to get some paint so I can paint it. I'm probably gonna let it sit overnight, get nice and dry before I put any paint on there. But yeah, I just finished it, so there's some spots that are still kind of wet. So far it's looking pretty good. Hopefully I won't come across any problems. I'm hoping to get it put back together soon. Like I said, this thing is sold, and the faster I get it out, the faster they can get it, because they're kind of anxious to get it. They want to use it within a couple weeks or so. So I did get some fenders for it. They're from a different four-wheeler. It's a newer four-wheeler, so I'm gonna see if it will fit this frame. I'm hoping the frame stayed the same. I think the fenders I got it from was 2006. I wanted to go with the blue, and blue wasn't available in I think 2001, which I think this is what this four-wheeler is. I tried to look for a VIN number, but I couldn't find it where it normally is. So I noticed that there is a VIN on the engine. I may run that, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure it's a 2000, 2001. I think 2002 is similar. They might have had different option, like optional forward drive, stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure, but this looks exactly like my red one that I had before, so I'm guessing it's either a 2000 or a 2001. But I just wanted to show you what I've done, and once I get it painted, which hopefully will be tomorrow or within a few days, I'll take some more pictures and videos so you guys can see the progress, and hopefully get it going soon. I got it all painted, took all the plastic and paper and tape out. I think it turned out good. Pretty happy with the results, even though it doesn't look like it. The exhaust cover has a different type of paint. It's more of a heat resistant paint. The rest is just a regular black Rust-Oleum glossy paint that I think looks really good, and it makes the black pop. So that's what I went with. I painted some of the front bumper, or the front bumper and the front rack, and I'm working on the little stuff like the rear rack and the cover for the bottom of the differential. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together. The black makes the engine look pretty good. It makes it look almost brand new. And the fenders, I think they're gonna work. Those blue ones that I was talking about. So I think it's gonna look really sharp. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish painting the little things that I have left, and maybe before I put the fenders, I'll see if I can get the front brakes to work. I'm hoping it's just a matter of bleeding them, and I'm gonna change the front and rear bearings and seals while I have it like this, make it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Got the Big Bear back in my shop. I'm gonna try to do the rear bearing first. I think this is gonna be the most complicated. I changed the seals. I don't know what this guy did, but I thought it was a good idea to remove the brake cover and then just leave it like this and ride it around. So it's been leaking differential oil, so I'm sure the seals are worn. That's why I got the kit to replace the rear wheel bearings and seals. But he did something funny to the axle. It has these two pieces of metal, one here and one here, and if he did it like he did anything else on this four-wheeler, he probably welded it. So I'm probably gonna have to cut it off and see if I can get this rear axle, because I believe, I'm not exactly sure, but you have to remove the axle, I think that's what it's called, the rear axle, to get to the bearings and the seals. I think there's one here and maybe one in the differential, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but once I open it up, then I'll find out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that started. I figured I would start in the back since it's the hardest one. The front ones I don't think are gonna be too complicated. I've done a few of those and it's time consuming, but it's not really that hard. So I'm gonna spend most of my time today hopefully trying to get the rear finished so I can move to the front, and then once I get all that, then I can put everything back together. Okay, so I just confirmed that whoever owned this four-wheeler before me is an absolute idiot. They welded this to the actual axle, and I don't know why he did that. If he ever thought about it, the axle has to slide that way to get to the bearings and the seals, so he was never going to replace the bearings, and eventually if you leave it like this, it's gonna go bad and you're gonna have to replace them. So I don't know what this guy was thinking, but now thanks to him, it's gonna make it a lot harder for me to get the stupid thing out so I can fix it the right way. I may have to just cut all this off. Oh, this is just trash now. Luckily I have another one. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so here it is all cut. I couldn't cut it like this because it wouldn't go, you know, you can see the mark where I started. It wouldn't go all the way through, so I had to cut the little ears off and then saw from inside till I could get it out. But yeah, this guy made a mess. So now I'm just gonna slide that axle off. I may have to give it a tap to help it slide back, but hopefully now it'll be smooth sailing. We shall see.